Hello there, folks. Hello there, David.
Kevin.
How's it going?
It's good. Good.
Guess who finally showed up for work today? Seal is here. She's done with school today.
We're glad she's here.
How long were you in class today?
11 to now.
11 to now. What time is it now?
1:30.
1:30? Really? 2-hour class?
3 hours.
3-hour class. Kind of like Gilligan's Island. 3-hour tour. I tell you, I had some courses in college. It felt like I was stuck on Gilligan's Island. I took this philosophy class once, made an A in it. But when I left that final, do you know what I did? Threw my book in the garbage can. I didn't turn it in for money. I didn't keep it for reference. I threw that thing away. I was so happy to be done with that class. Symbolic logic. It's like I was in geometry again. You know? Ever tell you I failed geometry?
You said from the pulpit one time that when they put the letter with the number, you are gone. I'm the same way. I'm
Listen,
laughing with you.
I did way better in math after my sister and I had the same teacher. My sister was in the 8th grade. I was in college. We had the exact same teacher at the exact same time. But listen, I turned the corner. I'm not sure I became a math genius, but I made it through college. This is a great, what episode are we on? 266?
Speaking of math.
Speaking of math, hey, I got a funny story. I'm going to tell it on the other side of the intro. Away we go, kiddies. All right, so here we go.
Funny story.
This is hilarious. So my last semester at WVU, I'm pastoring in Mannington, and I had like 13 hours to go. All of my credits were done. I just had to take a bunch of electives. That was it. So 13 hours of electives. So I see this one elective which fit my degree, and I'm just taking stupid stuff. In one of the class that I took, the history of math. The history of math.
That sounds incredibly boring.
It was amazing. My teacher had spent some time. I'll just say this. He was foraging mushrooms.
David and I talked about our experience with foraging.
Yeah, different kind of
Different
foraging.
experience.
Smoked left-handed cigarettes.
Uh-oh.
So we get into class, first day of class. He says, listen, it's this massive class, like, just 300 people in this class. He goes, look, you don't have any homework. You just have to come to the lectures, do the assignments, which you don't turn in, but I give a test at the end of each week or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He said, it's all on Scantron sheets. So it's just A, B, C, or D. You don't have to work any of the problems out. You just, you do it on your own paper and then you just put the letter down. He goes, I just have one rule. Just please don't cheat. He said, I don't care how dumb the question is. I don't care if you think I would never answer it. Just don't look to the left or your right. Just raise your hand and come over. Fine. And I saw him kick kids out of class. Caught him cheating.
Whoa.
And he was cool about it. He was so nice. I mean, they went ballistic. But he was never fazed. So we get to the final. I have 100% going into the final. And I'm sitting there and I'm taking the final and I get to this question and I don't know the answer. And I raised my hand and he comes over and he goes, got a question? And I went, I do. I said, I'm not quite sure what to put for this answer. He goes, well, what were you going to put? And I said, I was thinking about B. And he goes, if I were you, I don't think I'd pick B. He said, do you have another choice? I said, how about D? And he goes, I don't think I'd pick that one either. And I said, A? He goes, if it were me, I think I'd go with C. Huh. And I went, okay. Made 100% in the class. I never missed a question. Like what professor does that?
Where were those professors when I was in college?
I know. Where were they in most of my courses? You know? And here we are teaching you people the Bible every single day.
See.
See. Go see. All right. Mark 12 and 13 today.
All right.
Let's go to the parable of the tenants. I find this parable super interesting.
Yeah. Jesus is always teaching you about something that you're very familiar with. We're talking about an agrarian economy 2,000 years ago, Israel. They were all farmers. So he tells this story about this tenant, lets out the vineyard to others. But underneath that story that we're all familiar with, there's a deeper spiritual truth that they kept on rejecting the head of the tenant, the master of the garden, you know, the guy that owned the property.
So let me just read this, guys, and we'll kind of interpret the parable for them if we could do that. Okay, starting with chapter 12, verse 1. Jesus then began to speak to them in parables. A man planted a vineyard, put a wall around it, dug a pit for the winepress, and built a watchtower. And then he rented the vineyard to some farmers and moved to another place. At harvest time, he sent a servant to the tenants to collect from them some of the fruit of the vineyard. But they seized him. They beat him. They sent him away empty-handed. And then he sent another servant to him. They struck this man on the head and treated him shamefully. He sent still another, and that one they killed.
Yeah.
He sent many others. Some of them they beat, others they killed. He had one left to send, a son, whom he loved. And he sent last of all, saying, they'll respect my son. But the tenants said to one another, this is the heir. Come, let's kill him, and the inheritance will be ours. So they took him and killed him, and they threw him out of the vineyard. What then will the owner of the vineyard do? He'll come and kill those tenants and give the vineyard to others. Haven't you read this passage of Scripture? The stone the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. The Lord has done this. It's marvelous in our eyes. Then the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders looked for a way to arrest him because they knew he had spoken the parable against them. But they were afraid of the crowd, so they left him and they went away.
Yeah.
The vineyard, nation of Israel,
Yeah.
temple practice, sacrifice,
Yeah.
the servants that he sends. These are the prophets.
Yeah, a lot of the prophets they killed.
All of the prophets. And what he's saying is, listen, nation of Israel, I put you in charge over my nation to declare to the world. This is how many times have I quoted Genesis 12 in this study?
Yeah.
That through you, all nations would be blessed. You guys are supposed to be a light. You're supposed to be bringing people into this vineyard that they would celebrate. Yeah. And all you guys are trying to do is reject me, who owns the vineyard, and set up something for yourself. And if you think because you can be exclusionary and keep people away from me and set up your own little place in your own little nation,
They did.
then everything's going to be okay for you. And then I try to send my son, and you kill him too.
Yeah.
And because you've done that, now you're going to lose your temple. You're going to lose your nation. And yes, I still love you, and my covenant from my end is still good. But I'm going to bring the gospel myself to the Gentile world, and the Gentile world is going to point people back to me. Yes, I will come back around with you all. But now this is about the church, of which it's the Gentile world that's going to drive this train.
And notice he quoted Psalm 118, verses 22 and 23. The Lord loves to quote the Psalms. The stone that the builders rejected has become the very cornerstone. That's straight out of Psalm 118.
100%.
Yeah.
You know? So it's interesting. When you look at verse 12 and how it ties to 13, then the chief priests and the teachers of the law and the elders looked for a way to arrest Jesus because they knew he had spoken the parable against him, but they were afraid of the crowd, so they left him and went away. Later, they is the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders, sent some of the Pharisees, and here we are again, David, and Herodians. They still got this West Virginia Pitt alliance going on.
They do.
And they're teaming up to kill him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they are. Jesus knew their hypocrisy. And, this is a fascinating thing about taxes, too. They're asking Jesus a question that there's no way to win. They say, we know you're a true man of God. Tell us, should we pay taxes to Caesar or not? If he says you should pay taxes to Caesar, then people will reject him because they hated to pay taxes to Caesar. If they say, well, you should not pay taxes to Caesar, then he's going to get in trouble with Caesar. So either way, it's lose-lose. But Jesus, he splits the safeties right down the middle, and he catches the ball. He says, give to Caesar the things that belong to Caesar, and give to God the things that belong to God.
And I think it shows in that statement, again, the condition of the individual's heart.
Yeah.
If you don't care about Caesar's stuff, then it doesn't have a hold of your heart.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Yeah. Hold back? Just whatever Caesar wants, give it to him. And don't let whatever Caesar is demanding from you be a hindrance to your worship to God.
You see the wisdom of Jesus.
Oh my gosh. I know we're stating the obvious there, but he's brilliant.
Yeah,
he's absolutely brilliant.
They cannot trap him.
And then we get down to this thing with the Sadducees.
Yep.
It's almost laughable.
Yeah.
I love how Mark says, then the Sadducees, who say there's no resurrection, came to Jesus with a question. Teacher, they said, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves a wife but no children, the man must marry the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. It goes on and on and on, down to verse 23.
Yeah.
At the resurrection, whose wife will she be? Jesus is looking at these guys like, you're serious. You're serious about this. Let's think about this in terms of the book of Acts. Paul, so smart. When it comes to the end, before they ship him up to Caesarea Philippi and ultimately to Rome, this is this issue, which he masterfully plays in order to get himself out of their hands and into Caesar's hands, in order for the gospel to get to the free world, which is Rome. He says, hey, listen, I didn't do anything to these people. They're just mad at me because I'm like one of the Pharisees and not like one of the Sadducees. I believe in the resurrection. Yeah. Shaboom.
Yeah.
And it goes off. Well, so I say that to say.
Good point.
Well, I say that to say this isn't some casual question. Yeah. Like, this is well known that the Sadducees do not believe in the resurrection. Yeah. And they come at Jesus with this. It's like Jesus looks at them and goes, that's your best try. This is what you got. You guys do understand you don't believe in the resurrection. Like, this is an easy one. Yeah. Why would you ask me a resurrection question when I know you don't believe in the resurrection? Yeah. It's laughable.
They were mostly the wealthy people, the Sadducees, and they really were in control of the temple, whereas the Pharisees had more control of the synagogues. But it's a ridiculous question, and Jesus knows that. And so he lets them know that in heaven, there's no marriage. We're all focused on the Father.
Well, and, people ask me all the time, will we know one another in heaven? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, yeah, but we won't be married in heaven. And I said, this is my take on this. And you may go, oh, I don't agree with that, Kevin, at all. Like, Leslie and I are flesh of flesh and bone of bone. I'm no less married to Leslie in heaven. But it's an Edenic marriage at that point. And we're not procreating anymore, We're not creating children to fill the earth and subdue it. It's a very different relationship than what we have here. But to say, you're not going to know Barbara, or I'm not going to know Leslie, it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. We are going to have the proper relationship with everybody. We're not going to operate in the same sort of family structure. Like, well, you can't come to my house for Thanksgiving. That's my family, Well, I'm never inviting you. It's not like I invited him over for Christmas morning. Come on.
Well,
this is what Jesus is saying. What are you guys talking about? Yeah. You don't even know how it works. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
Not at all. It's just a ridiculous question that they ask, again, they're trying to trap Jesus and trying to get him into a no-win situation.
But anybody that says, on either extreme, we're not going to know anyone, that's stupid. We're going to know everybody perfectly. But to think we're going to break off into our own little family huddles, I mean, it's not that either. We don't practice family perfectly here. Why would you want to go back to that? You know?
Yeah.
I'm still going to hang out with Tanner. I'm still going to hang out with Bella. You know? We're still going to hang out.
Yeah.
But it's not like at the end of the day, I'm going to go to my place and you're going to go to yours and I'm not, you know, whatever. I think that's going to be cool. I hope what I'm saying is true. I hope I can say to Leslie, hey, I'll be back in 100 years. I'm going for a walk. You know?
Yeah.
And she goes, all right, see you later. And there's no break in the relationship.
Yeah.
And you just walk up to somebody and you go, hey, how are you doing? And you just talk to them. And it's perfect communion.
Yeah.
And there's no break there. And there's no separation there. And yet, new people that I meet every day, I'm not intimately connected to them. I know that's hard for people to grasp, but anyways. So.
And you'll be focused on the Father.
Oh, yeah.
On worship and praising God, singing his praises.
Well, honestly, David, I think it's appropriate that this next passage is here.
Yeah.
Because it really does come down to love God, love neighbor.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is the Shema. You know, a wise man asked Jesus, what's the most important commandment of all? And Jesus said, listen, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, with all your strength, and you shall love your neighbor
as yourself.
No other greater commandment than these.
I taught that last night to a group of young married, couples. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. That was the question to all those young people. Do you love yourself? Because if you don't love yourself, that's going to have a deep effect on your marriage. Learn to love yourself with the Lord's kind of love, and you'll share the Lord's love with the one you've been called to love.
That's profound.
That's heavy, man. That's heavy.
And it's absolutely true.
Isn't it funny, too, in this passage? I mean, you can infer the arrogance on this guy, too. I mean, he's questioning the creator of the universe. And then the guy says, well said, teacher. Fine job. You got my question correct. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for your endorsement of the fact that I created the universe. Paul writing to the church at Colossae, through him, all things were created, and in him, all things are held together. Thank you that I answered your question correctly.
You're not far from the kingdom of God.
Not far from the way to go.
There you go. That's right.
Oh, goodness. We talked about this in the Gospel of Matthew, whose son is the Messiah. Yeah. Could you maybe make a little bit more sense of this?
Well, the Jews always knew that when the Messiah came, whenever that would be, that he would be descended from David. That comes out of Psalm 89, that the Messiah, the Christ, would come from the line of David. And so that's why so often he's called Son of David. And they knew that when Christ came and identified himself as Son of David, that was the Christ, the Messiah they've been looking for.
Anyone that says Jesus never claimed to be God, I mean, are you out of your mind? Yeah. I mean, he does it every other breath.
I and the Father are one.
How do you miss that? Yeah. Like, why did they want to kill him? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't just because he was a heck of a debater. That's not why they wanted to kill him. They wanted to kill him. And it wasn't just because he was going to upset the apple cart in terms of economy or government. They knew, why was Herod and all of Jerusalem afraid when the Magi showed up and said, we heard the one that was born King of the Jews has been born. They knew exactly what they were talking about. They knew earthly kingships are over. They're done.
Yeah.
Our position in this world. Maybe at a most base level, they were caught up in some level of greed, But the ones that knew, like Annas and Caiaphas, they knew.
Yeah.
They knew. So when they say, we have no king but Caesar in the Gospel of John,
Oh, yeah.
you talk about rendering to Caesar what is Caesar and rendering to God's what is God. They couldn't have got that one any more wrong.
Big mistake.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So, all right. Jesus, warning against the teachers of the law. Watch out for the teachers of the law. They love to walk around flowing robes, greeted with respect in the marketplace, and have the most important seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at the banquets. Yet they devour widows' houses and for a show make lengthy prayers. These men are going to be punished most severely. Reminds me of book of Ezekiel.
Yeah, in the book of James, too, 3:1, the teachers will be judged more strictly. I mean, that's on us, you know. It's a sobering passage.
It really is. When I told my grandmother that I'd been called to the pastorate, she quoted me James 3:1.
Is that right?
100%. That was the first thing she said. You better think about that.
She was a wise woman.
And it wasn't, don't make the decision. It
Right.
was, you've made the decision, but you always, look, we joke around at the beginning of these podcasts. You and I both take this word really seriously.
Sure do.
I mean, it's our life.
We do.
It's why when people start saying there's a contradiction or you can't believe, I'm not going down that road with them people. I'm not doing it.
The contradictions are in their minds.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
100%. I love this widow's mite passage too.
Yeah, man.
I have my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
What are yours?
She gave everything she had.
Oh my gosh.
She gave everything she had.
You know, I love to see these passages. I love to see them, I don't like to do life as theater, but I love to see the theatrical in the scripture. Jim Yon once described my preaching. He said, Kevin, it's very operatic. It's pure Jim Yon, isn't it?
It is.
And I thought, you know what? That is how I see the scripture. It's just how my brain works, I see it as a play. I see it as an opera. I see it, as a movie. And I did this recently on a Sunday. I think it's second service at 11 o'clock. I talked about the woman who gave the mite. And I said, it's like Jesus was sitting there and going, okay, guys, you've been watching this with me. Who gave more than anybody? And Bartholomew says, I think it's that lady over there. Philip goes, no, you're wrong. I think it's that guy over there. And James goes, come on, guys, what are you talking about? It's him. Simon Peter goes, look, I'm in charge here. It's that guy. And Jesus goes, none of you are right.
Yeah.
It's that lady. And everybody goes, what? No, that lady doesn't have anything. And Jesus says, you're right. That's why she's given more than anybody, because she doesn't have anything. She gave everything, which means she has everything.
Yeah.
And that's powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just powerful. But we always look at people and we pre-qualify them and we say, nah. I think there's a juxtaposition there too.
I do too.
They love to be seen.
Yeah.
And here's this woman that nobody recognizes, puts in everything she has.
Yeah. Quietly.
All right. We got about 7 minutes here. We strained the water out of the fleece on chapter 12. What do we
did.
need to say about 13?
Mark 13. This is an eschatological discourse. You've had it in Matthew chapter 24. You're going to see it again in Luke 21. At the end times, Jesus at the temple with Simon, Peter, James, John, and Andrew is included in this one. And they ask him, you see all these beautiful buildings. I find it interesting. When you study Matthew 13, look at the first word out of Jesus' mouth and look at the last word in Matthew 13. In Matthew 13:5, Jesus said to them, watch out that no one deceives you. And then the very last word in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 13, Mark 13:37, I say to you, watch. Last word. So he wants us to pay attention. He wants us to sit up and really focus on what he is saying here.
100%. Hey, young people in the room, can I ask you guys something? Was there some debate about the rapture going on social media yesterday?
Yes.
What was it, Sheila?
That it's not biblical, but that the rapture was supposed to happen yesterday or 2 days ago or something like that. People say it was like that.
I always think that's very funny. People always like, it's going to happen this day.
Nobody
You
Oh
you
my
can ignore the end of Mark 13.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus makes it abundantly clear. When they start telling you I'm here or I'm there, just stay where you're at. Listen, you'll know.
Yeah.
This is another one of those things that I refuse to debate people on.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I mean, come on, David. Pre, mid, post tribulation. I don't. The answer,
We don't
I don't know.
We don't know.
Here's what I know. There's going to be a day where the kingdom culminates.
Yeah.
And if you don't make it to that day, you're going to have a day. So whether it's your day or the day that the kingdom culminates, however that is, you had better be ready. Hence your point you just made. Watch.
Yeah.
Just be ready.
Yeah.
Just be ready. It's that simple. Don't live in fear. Just watch and be ready. I don't know how else to say it.
And isn't it fascinating that the gospel will be preached to the whole world? You look at Mark 13:10, and the gospel must first be preached to all nations. And Kevin, you see it happening, and you see it not only with churches, church planters and pastors, but you see it with internet, with media all over the world, that the gospel, the euangelion, the good news is being preached all over the world.
It blows my mind. So, okay. I have a weird take on this. And I don't think it's weird. I really think God spoke it to my heart. I really believe this. And I've never heard an audible voice of God. And again, I bring this stuff out in the podcast all the time. And sometimes you go, that's profound. And other times I could tell we need to like go have a cup of coffee or something. Look, so there should be a disclaimer with everything that I say somewhere in David's neck of the woods. It should say, just because Kevin says it doesn't mean that David believes it.
Well, listen, I don't have all the answers.
No, neither do I.
That's for sure.
But this is something that I truly believe God spoke to my heart. And I've never heard an audible voice, but I was sitting on my front porch one day, and I just think God said to me, do you know why I haven't come back yet? The kingdom hasn't culminated. It's a matter of birth. If all the days were written for you in his book, all the days ordained for you were written in his book before yet one of them came to be,
Right.
there's a select number of people then that will be created. I believe this with every part of who I am. And I think I heard this on my front porch one day. When the last person who was to be born is born, and hears the gospel preached,
Ooh. Yeah.
that's when it happens. Because Romans 1 is true. Everyone is going to be without excuse.
Yeah.
So to think, oh, there's places in the world where the gospel has not yet been preached, that's not true. If that's true, then we have to take Romans 1 out of the Bible.
Yeah.
Because everyone is without excuse. So everyone has had the opportunity to hear the gospel prior to their death, but not until they're born and have to make the decision
Right.
in the physical body.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret that verse now after that day praying on my porch. And again, it might be one of those things. Kevin Cain is 100% wrong about that. But David, I really think I heard it.
Yeah, it's good. It only makes sense. And and 2 Peter tells us that the Lord is slow about all this because he wants everybody to come to repentance, to salvation.
Yeah, you and I clearly are not Reformed theology people. That whole concept of election. I mean, I think election and predestination is about the Hebrew people as God's chosen people.
Yeah.
That's what I believe those scriptures are about. But I really do believe, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him wouldn't perish, but would receive everlasting life.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I just think it's not the Father's will that any would perish, but that all would come to salvation.
Well, and you see Jesus' compassion for all people throughout the Gospels,
In my statement doesn't make me a universalist.
No. No.
You still have to decide.
Right.
I mean, and our discussion about the rich young ruler is the perfect example.
Yeah.
Jesus loved him.
Yeah.
He was welcome to rise. And like, other than the disciples, who is told, follow me? Nobody. Nobody hears those words. I know Bartimaeus followed.
Right.
No one else heard those words except the 12.
Wow.
Come follow me.
Yeah.
Rich young ruler. 13th disciple. You know, I know there's 12. I'm not trying to make
Right.
more out of it than what it is. There was 120 in the original church, you know, but there was 1 and there was 3 and there was 12 and there was 70 and there was 120. Those numbers are significant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where could that guy have fallen in all of that?
Yeah.
You know, you think about, did the guy in the Decapolis hear that Jesus was resurrected from the dead? Was he among that 120? You know, was Bartimaeus among that 120? You know, was the Roman centurion in Capernaum among that 120? Was Jairus among that 120 and his family? Now, you think about these things.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah, you'd like to think. We don't know, but we'd like to think so. You know, I mean, what about the centurion at the foot of the cross? Truly, this man was the Son of God.
Wow.
What if he was among that 120? It starts being really interesting when you take a look at the whole thing. So, anyways, all right, guys. Tanner says we're on the middle camera again because we've gone past 30 minutes. Hey, I have a meeting in 4 minutes that I have to get to, so we better get done with this thing. All right, tomorrow.
We'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, we finish this up.
Yeah.
Finish the Gospel of Mark up tomorrow, and then we'll getting into the Gospel of Luke.
Yeah.
Have I told you I've started listening to Christmas music?
Yes. Yeah, that's
I was
good.
listening to today. You know, I'll tell this one last story, then we're done. So I pick up Jason Upton from the airport a few years ago. And one of the guys that plays guitar for Jason is a guy named Ben Forehand. And they were coming to play right around Christmas, and Benjamin came. And he was making fun of me because I was listening to Kenny G's Christmas album.
I love Kenny G.
I think Kenny G's Christmas album is one of the greatest Christmas albums of all
I
time.
do too.
Period. Done. End of story. God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.